What's going on, everybody? Going to be diving into a Rimworld beginner's guide. This is going to be my second time actually attempting this. The first time I did it, I was covering a lot of the important parts of the UI with my video feed. Was not paying attention, so it pretty much made the first hour and a half of recording completely useless, so I'm going to just restart from the beginning. Still getting the hang of this whole streaming thing. So, Rimworld, I figured it would be a fitting game for my first series. It's probably one of my favorite games of all time, and it's actually only been out officially out of early access, I think, for about just a couple months. May, I think it came out, or maybe it was January. I don't remember, but the game's been out for a long time in early access. Just came out with the official 1.0 release, so it's probably my most played game on Steam. I refer to it as my desert island game. If I had to be stranded on a desert island, it would be the one game that I would take with me. It just encapsulates, you know, everything that I love about games. It's like my favorite genre. I like simulations. It's really silly. It's almost like a roguelike, the whole, in the sense that you just die a lot. The whole point of the game is essentially dying. I have actually completed the game once. This was before they added some of the more end game stuff to the game. But basically what I wanted to do was just start up a beginner's guide, because the game can be a little complicated if you're first diving in. I remember I had to watch some videos when I first started. So what I think the series is going to be is just a quick sort of overview, you know, basically how to get started, you know, what you want, how you initially want to set up your base, how to just start up the game. Probably won't get into some of the more later game stuff, like actually building the spaceship, or the caravan type stuff. Yeah, because, you know, once you sort of get the basics down and you figure out how the game works, that stuff you should be able to sort of figure out on your own. It's a little bit more complex for this series. So yeah, let's jump in here. We're gonna start with the new colony option, and you can see that there's a few different scenarios that the game lets you pick here. We're gonna go with Crash Landed. This is the classic Rimworld experience. It says they've added these other ones, you know, over the years, but we're basically gonna stick with this Crash Landed one. It's my favorite. What the scenario is, you have 3 people that have crash landed on a planet. These are all the items that you sort of start with, stuff that's scattered on the map. And all of this stuff can be changed. You know, once you've played a few times, you can go in the scenario editor and you know, figure out what you know, want to start with more silver, less, make it harder for yourself. You can do that kind of stuff. Naked brutality is kind of fun. You start out just one dude naked on the planet. It's pretty hard. There's the Rich Explorer, which is just one guy who starts with a lot of stuff. You know, a lot of silver, medicine, and gold, and you have to. You get some, start with some research right off the back. So this one can be fun too. Lost Tribe, you start with 5 people, but your technology is really low. You don't have a whole lot of weapons or any resources. But we're going to go with Crash Landed for this one. It's my favorite. And then you have to choose a storyteller. And basically there's these 3 storytellers to choose from. And what these are is it's basically the AI of the game. And it's going to drive how the game plays out for you. So the first one, Cassandra Classic, she starts out, you know, really easy, and then it sort of has this curve that amps up. So, you know, you can start out, you know, giving you some time to breathe, to, you know, build up your base, and then she'll start throwing some nasty raids and scenarios and animal attacks at you. Phoebe Chillax is the one that's going to give you a lot of time in between events, give you an opportunity to build up your base without you know, throwing too much at you at once. And then the final one is Randy Random. This is my favorite. This is completely random. He could throw sort of a nasty scenario right off the bat. This is the way that I like to play. I used to play with Cassandra Classic for a long time, and then I just started going Randy Random. It's the most fun. I don't mind if I die. You really need to embrace that part of the game. that's the one that we're going to pick. And then there's also a sub selection here you can make if you want something peaceful. You know, if you hover over these, it sort of tells you what they are. So, you know, peaceful lets you just build in a sandbox environment. This is recommended for new players who just want to focus on building up their base. And then you can get all the way up to savage, where there's going to be, you know, diverse threats. They can really attack you in vicious ways. And, you know, even if you play well, it'll just be impossible to win. But we're just going to go with medium. And then the this option down here is how saves work. Reload anytime lets you just save the game at any time and, you know, reload if something bad happens to you. Or there's commitment mode, which only lets you save as you exit the game. So if something bad happens, you can't roll back to a prior save. That's it. That's the way that I play now. That's the way that I recommend you play once you get a game or two under your belt. But for this scenario, or this series, I'm just going to choose reload it at any time in case we do get something bad that happens right off the bat. It'll let us roll back. But basically, I want to choose random, so, you know, we can get a good, you know, breadth of events and things that happen, you know, in a short amount of time. So we're going to choose these settings, and we're going to click next. Seed is just the seed of the world. You can just randomize it. This is good if you want to share with a friend or something like that. You can say, oh, I'm playing on reindeer, and they can put this in and they'll get the same map. So I just click randomize a few times. You can just use what's there by default if you want. Globe coverage, you're going to see what this does in a minute, but this is going to generate our world, and this is basically how much of the world is going to be covered by our map. I like to go with 50% just to give us more options, and then I leave all of these as normal. So we go generate. All right, here we go. So this is our world. You can hold down the center mouse button to spin the globe around. You can, you know, take a look. So you can basically see, since we chose 50% coverage, half the planet is available to us to land in. I think you can actually land in the water too, which is kind of bad. I think you just die. But each, you know, if you zoom in, each one of these little areas is a zone that you can start to play in. And it, for the most part, will be where you spend most of your time. These little lines are roads. This was a feature that they put out later in early access, and what they do is they connect these various little towns and tribes, and these are, like, I think bad guys, hostile guys here. These are towns, and then these are tribes. Basically, in the later game, you can build a caravan and send your dudes out. Let me just move this out of the way already here. Camera's already in the way. All right. So you can see when you click on these little zones, it gives you some information here on the left about what the terrain is like, the biome, growing period, average temps, rainfall, disease frequency. So what you can do is you can just select a random site and just start where it puts you. I like to do that sometimes. If you start up in the, you know, Arctic snowy region, it's going to be a lot harder for you because it's cold. Conversely, in a really hot tropical zone like a jungle, can be also very hard. Temperate swamp is tough. There's like a high disease. It can be very hot. Lots of dangerous animals there. But if you want an easy start, look for something towards the middle of the planet where you're going to get a good year-round growing season. And you want to pick a temperate forest flatter area. These little marks here are mountains. If you see like a really big one, that means it's really mountainous. It says impassable here, so there's a lot of mountains, not so much building area. Or you can just pick a small hills. If you pick a hills area, there's going to be more for you to mine and stuff. Or, you know, you can pick one that's even bigger, and you can actually build your base into the mine, sort of dwarf fortress style. But I think for this tutorial, we're going to pick maybe something along the road. You can also build something over water, use windmills for power and stuff like that. But let's just pick a flat temperate forest year-round pretty cool average temperature. Lots of berries. This will give us a good start. So we're gonna select that. I do like to go to advanced here before I go to next. I wish they had this in a more easier way to see, but I always like to go one notch up on the medium map size. It just gives us some more cells, just a little bit bigger of a map. If you try to pick large, you get a little warning saying that the game isn't really meant to be played at that big a map. It really breaks the game. It's really more for testing and stuff like that, but I do like to take the medium setting up one notch to 275 by 275. And then for starting season, I just leave it at auto. I believe auto is always spring, or it might be random. I'm not sure. It doesn't give you any little pop-up here, but I always pick auto, and I believe it's always a spring start. So we'll do that, and then click next. Now comes the fun part where you select your characters. And so how it works is, the game is like a story. You're a ship that's crashing on this planet. These are the people that you're going to leave behind on your ship, and then these are the people that are going to escape on the pods. So you can have people where this guy will be the husband or the son of someone that's left behind. You can see under here they have relations, and this guy doesn't have any. But sometimes you'll see some that are in here by default, or if you click a random person, it'll show you that they're related to someone left behind, or you might get a husband and wife team in here. And what that does is just adds just another thing to the story where if the husband or the wife dies and the other person will get really sad and upset, and maybe they'll start fires or they'll kill everyone and start eating the corpses of the other people left behind and stuff like that. So what you can do is just randomize all three of your dudes and then click start. But what I like to do to just give myself just a little bit of an edge so that I can have some time to build up, I do like to pick people that have certain traits. The main thing I want to avoid is people with major health issues. If they have bad like an artery blockage, he's liable to have a heart attack or a stroke. They can also have scars and broken bones, or drug addictions. Always avoid drug addictions. There are some drugs where they have to get the drug or they'll freak out and die sometimes. So I try to avoid any major health issues with my dudes. Traits, for the most part, they're fine. There are some I like to avoid, especially if it's your first time. I think the pyromaniac is one you want to look out for. They'll just randomly start fires, and they'll refuse to fight fires that do start, and that can be a real pain in the ass. This guy's, you can hover over these, and it just gives you a little. This guy's got creepy breathing, which is funny. This guy breathes heavily all the time and sweats constantly. People find it creepy. So the other people around this person are going to be a little turned off, rebuffed. They're not going to like him very much. Jogger, his movement speed is up, so this guy will get a bonus to movement speed. But he also has a chemical fascination, so if you have drugs lying around, he'll go on binges. He'll get addicted to drugs, and that's bad news. So chem fascination I try to avoid. You can also just sort of blank this one out just by avoiding having drugs around. Sometimes you get these supply pods that'll crash on the planet, and sometimes they'll just be like cocaine. Like a bunch of cocaine will drop on the planet, and this guy's got a chem fascination, and you bring all that coke into your base, he'll just go nuts, and his heart will explode because he'll do too much coke. So avoid the chemical fascinations. I try to avoid those. You want to have a guy who's good at shooting at first. So let me explain these skills here. They're ranked from, I think, 1 to maybe 18 or 20 or something like that. The higher the skill, the better they are in that thing. The little flames that appear next to them just indicate that they'll build that skill faster than they otherwise would. So cooking, he's going to build cooking a little faster than mining. It'll go up at a higher rate. The more they do the task, the more experience they'll get, and the higher that rank will go up. They have 2 flames. That means, as you can see here, he learns at 150%. Single flame, he learns only at 100%. Without the flame, he learns at 35%. So if they got the flames, it's a big boost. I like to find a guy, at least one guy, who's good at shooting, and who's, if he's got flames in shooting, that's all the better. This guy seems alright. He's a careful shooter, so he's got better aiming time. Transhumanist, what is this? He feels limited in his feeble human body. He often dreams of being enhanced by artificial body parts. That's kind of cool too. You can make him a cyborg. You can amputate his legs and give him bionic legs if you want to. He's incapable of firefighting, caring, social, dumb labor, which is okay. If you get a fire early on, you're only going to have 2 guys that are available to fight it. But this guy seems okay. He could be our cook. He only has 1 skill that is going to build. Construction's alright. Mining is alright. Plants is really low. He's a good shooter, and he'll eventually be an okay cook. If your cooking is pretty low, they'll make meals, and your colonists will get like food poisoning and shit like that. They'll vomit everywhere, and then your place will be a mess. So that's no good. Your guys will get sick. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know if we want to keep this guy, but so what I tend to do. Okay, so here's another guy. Shooting is 9. His medical is at 14, which is huge. You want a guy who can be your doctor, because your guys are going to get hurt. And his intellectual is fine, so he can do our research too. So this seems pretty good. He can't really do anything else. Construction, he's not even going to be able to build anything off the bat. He's got an old gunshot. Stab scar. He's a pyromaniac too, yeah. Fuck this guy. Let's randomize. Let's find a good... Let's see, this guy's good at plants, intellectual. His shooting is a 5, but he can get better. This would be right. He's a fast learner. He gets a plus 75 to learning. I wonder if that shows up in here. So that's good. He's shooting. Social's really high, which is, can be handy. His artistic is good. We'll eventually get to art, and mining's okay. I think this person is all around good. No health conditions. Kind. She doesn't like dudes. Really distrusts men. Incapable of cooking. That's fine. Let's keep this person. They can be our shooter. This guy up here. We do need a cook, and we need a doctor. Growing is good too. So cooking, growing, construction. Oh, this person's great. A little bit of a scar. Jealous. His cooking is +4. Great cook. Great crafter too. It's a dude, so not going to get along well with our female here. But that's fine. You can't get along with everybody, right? So, and then at the bottom here, we can see just to look at our skills that we have so far. We need a doctor. So this person, we need to find someone who's good with medical. At least medical. This could be okay. Could be alright. What's our construction at 4? Yeah, that's gonna be a pain. Melee's high. I don't really melee that much. At the beginning it's handy because it starts you with a rifle, a pistol, and a knife. So one person's gonna have the knife. Give that to your big melee person. This person will probably get it. I'm gonna randomize this person again. Now this is okay. Lots of flames. This person can be our researcher, doctor. What do we have for plants? 6 with a double flame. That's pretty good. I think this is a good spread. You don't want to have a lot of your main skills heavily leveraged in one guy because they can't do everything. You want to make sure you're able to split the work out amongst your group of people. I think this is a good start. Good start for us. Good dudes. Let's jump in.